Hey everyone, Cerebral Tackle back again. I've got another story for you. This one gets a little heated. As I've told you guys, my tournament career's pretty much come to an end. And when this particular tournament happened, I knew I didn't have many left in the tank. Night tournaments is one of my favorite formats. A grueling, usually during the dog days of summer kind of format. Usually starts at 8 in the evening, goes to 8 the next morning. That way we can be out of the heat. Don't get me wrong, still plenty hot. But a wonderful Ironman kind of format. I've always enjoyed night fishing. So night tournaments, man, that's one of the ones I lived for. Now, whether it be a day tournament or a night tournament, something that myself and every tournament partner I've ever fished with, that we've always been very cognizant and aware of, is those fishing from the bank. Man, you don't mess with folks that don't have the opportunity to get around the rest of the lake like you do. It's called common courtesy. If they could be in a boat, they would be. So would you want someone fishing right on top of you if you were on the bank? I think not. I think you would be looking at that person in the boat going, why the hell do you have to be right here? Now you may be asking what that has to do with a tournament. You'd be right. Towards the end of my career, my health didn't allow me to be in a boat as much as I would like to be. So for a select amount of tournaments, I had an arrangement with the powers that be. Because of my disability, I could fish them from the bank. Now, you're thinking, you're going to be a donation. Why throw your money at a tournament to fish from the bank? Because I've won from the bank? Yeah. A live well? Well, I've got a great live well set up. We're going to go over that in a future video. I'm going to teach you how you can build one just like mine. So a lot of emotions were going into this particular tournament for me. I knew it was going to be one of the last ones I'd ever get to fish. And ironically, it was on the same month, same weekend, and same lake as I fished my very first bass tournament ever. Same format too. Obviously, summer, another night tournament. I had taken all the time, researched my baits, organized my tackle well, had my rods tied on, was raring and ready to go. I even lined up a few places that were very good that I had great success with from the bank for this tournament. I was just an ounce or so away from having big bass in this same tournament a year or so prior. So, yours truly wasn't the donation you might think he was. I had a legitimate shot at taking home some money in this tournament. I was pumped. I was raring and ready to go. I did all I could. Now I just need a little extra help from things that were out of my control. One of those things that's always going to be out of your control, some idiot yahoo. And I ran into two of them on this particular night. One of the places I had arranged to fish this night was the personal dock of a guy that owned a lake house there on the lake. This gentleman had been a member of our organization a few years prior. His dock was legendary. It had a ton of brush for structure and also had like 8 or so of these wonderful underwater, what us bass anglers call pool lights. They're big lights that emit a green glow under the water. That glow attracts microorganisms. That attracts bait fish. That attracts big fish to chomp on them. Great for night fishing. Going along with that etiquette that we kind of talked about not fishing on top of somebody that's fishing from the bank, is another kind of etiquette. When you're fishing a dock, you don't pull right up on somebody else and start throwing at them. And if somebody is there on that dock, fishing from that dock, no. In a lot of states, they don't own the water. And in this state, it's no exception. They don't own the water. It's called common courtesy. It's called not being a D-bag, right? If someone's fishing their dock for crappie or bass, you don't come and just start tossing at their feet. Who the hell does that other than a certified a-hole? Another big no-no that you don't do when you're fishing these pool lights like I've described to you, you don't saunter up to them and drop your anchor right off in the middle of them. Not only could you bust that glass housing, but you're going to spook every freaking fish in the area. The fish aren't stupid. They know it's nighttime. They know they're ambushing prey around the lights. They're very easily spooked. So, common etiquette is to stay back away from them and cast past them, draw your bait through it, or cast to the dark edges, draw your bait through it. Kind of fish the peripheral. If you're going to fish the center of the light, you better throw well past it and then work it through. You don't, however, nose right up on top of it and drop trowel. Now, I've said all this for a reason. What do you think happens? All the above, of course, right? I get down to this dock, first place of the evening. I get set up. I'm getting situated, got the tackle out, got the rod set up. I'm down there ready to do damage, right? Keep in mind, a couple of years prior, when fishing from a boat at this same dock, I got broke off by the frickin' Loch Ness Monster. I'm talking that fish picked up my Ultra Vibe speed worm, took off the other direction, and I didn't have a prayer. Snapped my line like it was candy, and we're talking 15-pound of Brazex here. That fish was no joke. So to say I was excited to fish this tournament was an understatement. I was hoping that big bad mama was still swimming around down there. I pull out my gear. I'm ready. The sun's going down. It's 8 o'clock, so it's not quite there yet. Waiting. The second it gets good and dark and I start to see fish conjugating around these lights, here comes a boat. Some guy and his kid. I support taking a kid fishing. Nothing wrong with that. However, I don't support being an absolute jackwagon in front of the kid. The first thing this jackwagon does is runs his big motor right up to the center of the freaking light that's on the outer exterior of the dock. And what does he do? Drops his anchor right down to the center of the dadgum thing. At this point, I'm thinking, here we go. I start off very polite, even though I'm extremely agitated. I inform the guy, sir, in all due respect, you got to be careful dropping your anchor right in the middle. You're going to spook them off for both of us. I know the area isn't big enough for both of us to share. And I know I was clearly there. He saw me being on the dock of the homeowner, and he barged right in anyway. I wasn't going to pick that yet. First, I was just trying to let him know, hey, dude, you're going to scare off the fish for everybody. You might want to back off a bit. How does he respond? Do you own the effing lake? Do you own the effing lake? I'll fish anywhere I damn well please, and just starts cussing me out. Needless to say, I don't think Mr. Jackwagon responds well to constructive criticism. Not in every state, but in many states, it's against the law to harass or interfere with someone trying to take game. Whether it be hunting, fishing, whether it be in a tournament or out for a fun weekend, you can't go jacking with somebody trying to take game. What he does next is just very unbecoming of what a gentleman should be. Not only does he continue to mouth off and get real belligerent, he starts forgetting about the light that he's right there on top of and starts throwing over at my feet, literally landing within a foot from my butt. Another good rule of thumb to observe whenever you're out on the water fishing around others, and this goes to whether you're both in a boat, one on the bank, don't fish within a cast's length distance from one another. If you're on the boat and you can cast and hit that other guy on the bank, what are you doing there? Now, the same goes the other way around, okay? If you're in a boat, he's in the bank, and he's, let's say, long lining for catfish, those reels and those heavy weights can throw a long ways. If he could smack you upside the head when you're in your boat, what are you doing there? You're too close. Back off. It's not going to kill you. Plus, you have a boat. You have the whole lake you can reach. Go reach it. So, Mr. Jackwagon continues to throw at my feet, continues to mouth off. Guys, I don't like bullies. I can only take so much. there gets to a point I have 0 F's to give. And guess what? I hit the mark, and I was fresh out of F's. I started telling him, hey, I can give you other places on the lake that have great docks, the same kind of setup. I'm stuck fishing here. How about I give you the coordinates, you can go fish them. You don't own the lake, you can't effing tell me where to fish. No, I don't own the lake and I can't tell him. I was hoping there was some common sense rattling around in that brain that he might take me up on it. No such luck for this guy. Apparently, not only is he in my head and has me good and pissed off, apparently I'm starting to get into his. He starts telling me how he's going to kick my ass. And there's 240 pounds worth of ass-kicking ability in him. Guys, I don't think he was 240. He might have been a $180 soaking wet, but I'm not here to judge. Either way, he claimed he's going to come over there to that dock, climb up on somebody else's property, and kick my ass. Then, I start recording. I should have already been recording. My wife had recorded some. My phone was turned around towards me. It was on my scooter on its little holder. We weren't expecting to run into this kind of moron. So, I pick up on him saying this.
No, dude, I've done one bunch of fights.
You've done what?
I have done a bunch of fights.
I'm sure you have.
Say that one more time so I can show it to the game warden when he gets here.
I'm a game warden.
Now, what did you just say about wanting to kick my ass 240 pounds of what? What'd you say? Why don't you repeat it for the camera? So yeah, he's continuing on with his verbal threats. You heard him. I've won plenty of fights. 240 pounds and kick your ass. I'm a big dude. It's not the first time I've had someone threaten to kick my ass. But you know what though? You know what's funny? They can try. You know why? I'm a big dude. No, I can't go toe-to-toe with someone in a fair fight. Just means I don't play fair. So now I'm thinking I've got to step it up a notch. I don't want to have to call the game warden on this guy. Game wardens have plenty bigger and better things to do. So, after he's thrown at me a couple of times, showing that he can hit me with his bait, I take a nice 1/8 of an ounce bait, a shaky head. I give a little pass past the bow of his boat. I'll grab my spoon, babe. Got something just for that. Oh, I see it. Oh, I see it. That's with an 1/8 ounce. Think I can't hit it with a half? I just stopped short of footing your boat with an 1/8 of an ounce.
Hey. Dude, if I have to call the game warden.
That's it, just call him. Just call him.
Are you calling the homeowner?
Oh, I'm
No.
calling the game warden.
For what?
Harassment of somebody trying to take game. You gotta love it. He's sitting there saying, put it in the boat then, put it in the boat then. My wife's starting to get irritated because she doesn't want to see me upset. She knows what this idiot's doing, but she's afraid I'm going to get arrested. However, I do want to put it across his bow a couple of times. As you can see, things are off the rails at this point. I'm getting flustered. I've had enough of his crap. The wife, ready to call the game warden, saying she's going to go ahead and call him. What he does next lands him in hot water with the game warden. That's right, you heard him correctly. He said, call Zach, call Zach. I sell him his firewood. Okay, so the game warden is going to let you off the hook for being a complete dill hole in public because you sell him firewood. Yeah, so I called his bluff. I called the game warden. Game warden's, what does this guy look like? I gave his description. Does he have a son with him? Yes. Oh, I know who he is. Yeah, he sells me firewood, and I'm going to have a chat with him. Game warden did not take too kindly to him name dropping, saying he's going to get him out of this because he sells him firewood. Not a good look. You know what else isn't a good look? Acting this way in front of your kid. It's awesome that he's taking his son fishing. That's great. But teaching him to roll up on somebody who's already at a spot and then throwing at their feet, throwing on top of them, threatening them, being belligerent? Is that what you want to teach your kid? No. I'm a firm believer some people shouldn't have kids. And this dude, his plan A might have should have been plan B. So, he successfully ruined the night's fishing. I stuck it out. I got one keeper out of that spot, right in front of him, by the way. Other than that, he completely tore up the area. It was useless. I was so pissed off and so wanting to salvage that spot and just show him up that I stayed there way too long. I should have made the move, went to my second spot, and tore him up there. Instead, I got there way too late. By the time I got there, my window had closed on the second spot. It is what it is. That's the way I finished one of my last night tournaments. And it sucks. I had so much hopes for that one. So I guess the moral of the story is, don't be that guy. Did I let myself get pissed off? Yeah. Oh yeah. I was ready to throw braid right into his freaking trolling motor. See how you like that crap. You know, I don't dig bullies. If bullies come at me, I tend to go back. This was no exception. I don't like being that guy. But I'm not going to roll over and show my belly either. So it is what it is. So there's a story about how a jackwagon decided he wanted to screw with somebody fishing from the bank. You can see a disabled guy having a fish from a mobility scooter on the bank. And you're going to screw with him? Nah, no. His kid needs better. Anyway, I hope the guy grows up before he hits his 60s. Otherwise, poor kid's screwed. Anyway, that's the story for tonight. Hope you guys like the new story time kind of format. I'm going to try to mix them in regularly. We'll see how that goes. Life can always happen. Don't know. But it's my goal. So, there it is. Don't be a douche. And you guys know the drill. Love you guys. Appreciate my viewers. You guys are fantastic. Glad you're all here. And until next time, get out there in the water and keep it wet.